January 23rd, 2026. This is Tortious Interference 5. This will not be one session, but it's going to begin the introduction of Texas Movement International's current position against all of you. As I've told you before, I am an unfortunate resident of the state of Illinois. We most recently, when I say we, I mean Professor Varghese Mathai, Professor Rani Mathai, Rajiv Mathai, and myself moved back to Illinois after a three-year stint in Minneapolis, St. Paul's outer regions while they were employees of Bethel University, another godforsaken white Jew hellhole. And before my senior year, we moved back to Illinois. I did not want to move here. I did not want to be a resident here. And if this video cuts off, I will be continuing it in another episode. And this will go into our Tortious Interference series. Do not expect a conclusion with this video. I would like to begin with a prayer. Lord, this video is intended to fully deliver my emotional content to the people of Earth. I have been mocked and ridiculed and ostracized and isolated by absolutely mediocre opponents of your will. I would like to use this forum to deliver a message that is in line with your will, but that fully expresses my essence in these few moments that we have together with this technology. I ask that your words would take preeminence over my own. Amen. Children, I'm going to depart from my peaceful nature. I am not going to be able to control my delivery from this point forward. Before I do this, I want you all, especially you young children, to know that war is an absolute last resort. Violence is an absolute last resort. It must never be your first reaction. You must treat violence with extreme reverence. God gave us our strength to defend the weak, not to oppress the weak. Please consult the Lord before you go to battle in any form. I must leave you now. Be well. These are running back and wide receivers gloves made by the Cutters Company, Cutters. Nike and Reebok and Under Armour also make football gloves. But when I was playing football from 8th grade through senior year, I recognized that there were different levels of tactile sensitivity. And I realized that Cutters gloves were the most appropriate for my needs. Football is a game of collision and size. And it requires willingness for collision and violence. This naturally flies in the face of Eastern philosophy. In the East Asian community and Oriental Asians, if you don't mind, I may have to blur the lines for a moment. In the East Asian community, we are taught that our responses to discomfort need to be channeled exclusively through academic pursuits. On top of that, in the Indian subcontinent, there are several faith-based communities that are segregated into several different sects. That is spelled S-E-C-T-S, sects, which is kind of short for sections. In the Indian diaspora, your academic pursuits are governed by your faith-based value system. In the state of Kerala, which I have referenced before, the faith-based value system that many of us practice is St. Thomas-based Christianity. For those of you familiar with the Bible, Thomas was the apostle that doubted that Jesus had truly resurrected. And so, when Jesus first appeared to the disciples, Thomas was not present. And when they had told him that Jesus had been resurrected, he said, "Until I put my own hands into his nail-pierced holes, I will not believe." So Jesus appeared to him separately and said, "You have seen and believed, but blessed are those who have not seen but still believe." Why does this matter? Well, as many fighters know, when you are in danger, you do not resort to your theory. You resort to your training. Whatever you have trained to do the most, that is what you will do in crisis or under duress. Now, if the fight is scripted, you will do whatever you're paid to do. That is not the case here. No one has paid me to do anything. They have demanded that I pay them. I told you about my experience at Emmanuel Christian Center, which was a white Assemblies of God church in, I believe it's called Spring Lake Park, Minnesota. When we had our home fellowship from 1993 to 1998, the parents of the 6 or 7 families that started that fellowship, Bread of Life Church, where my mother was essentially the church mother, where we spread comforters on the floor, moved furniture to clear out as much space as possible, using sheets, and even fitted sheets sometimes, so that people would not be sitting cross-legged on our bare carpet. Indians, who you say are so unhygienic, they would come from all over the Metroplex to sit in our basement for 3, sometimes 4 hours, and connect with the small piece of home that they had left. It was a split-level home. There was no official basement. As a matter of fact, we had a walkout patio door on the lower floor. Our deck was on the second level. At times it was my responsibility to film the services. The Sabu, whose name was used to mock my current authority, whose son is under my direct protection, whose daughter is under my direct protection. That Sabu faithfully stood in our home and ministered to our people from the Book of Psalms. Titus, his son, is one of the most honorable men I've ever met. I remember his frustration when we were in a memory verse competition between all of us, and he came second to me. It is my job to lead these people. It is my job to defend these people with my life. Texas movement does not belong to you. Varghese Mathai does not belong to the Jews, nor does his legacy. Tortious interference is the quiet way powerful actors kill opportunities without ever filing a lawsuit or saying your name in public. For communities trying to build independent institutions, interference is often more dangerous than open attacks because it works through phone calls, pressure, and silence. Children, do not adopt this style of conversation. I feel very uneasy about entering this part of my mind. I've done everything in my power to avoid it. and I have done as much as possible to prepare to take Larry Hoover's place. If I cross a line that I cannot return from, I do not want to do this. I'd like to send a quick message to Black gay America. You have co-opted the Jew movement. You have not listened to your Jamaican brothers. You have mocked the beauty and regal divine blessing of Black American women. You've spread your filth and your diseases from Fauci vaccines into the community through your down low behavior. You've abused children, going so far as doing it even in your own family functions. You've adopted the House Negro mindset, bending over for your oppressor, while bullying everyone with red herring facts about Black history when it's convenient for you. You have destroyed the Black church and its integrity, which has done irreparable damage to my life and my family's peace of mind. You have destroyed the nuclear family unit, and Jewish gays have used that as license to continue their poison. Your homosexuality and your addiction to alternative lifestyles demonstrates a weakness of character that comes from the lack of fathers in your own homes. I have no problem blaming Black women for their role in that. But like Eve in the Garden of Eden, the serpent was Gloria Steinem and all the Jewish women that came before, Susan B. Anthony included, Margaret Sanger included, and whatever the lady's name that talked to Lyndon Johnson about affirmative action. White lesbians all over Chicago are running this country into the ground. Gaining weight, cutting their hair like men, bullying everybody with their useless caricatures of Black women culture, and destroying every institution we have in this city, even those that are meant to help the weakest of us. You have all the gossip in the world, except when it's time to attack our oppressors directly. Lloyd said in Entourage that the gay mafia was replaced by the gay assistant corps. How come that assistant corps only oppresses in one direction? I thought you all went both ways. There is a deep poverty in your soul that your dual income, no kids lifestyle will not solve. But because the women of your community have given me immense levels of honor that I do not deserve, once again I have to show an ungodly amount of restraint when you deserve an American History X level execution. You have no idea what your poison did to my mother's psyche. That poison goes into the mind of every minority academic who speaks the whole word like this, because you people turned intelligence into homosexuality. You do not have to be an abominable deviant to be literate. Kai Cenat. It is not a crime to know how to read and to desire the love and affection of a woman that only belongs to you. You do not have to give up your own soul to get a light-skinned, curly-haired trophy wife. There is nothing wrong with having a woman with melanin and being proud of that. Melanin is a gift from God, and it should be cherished. Your manhood is a gift from God, and it should be honored and protected. In simple terms, tortious interference happens when a third party wrongfully gets in the middle of your contract or your serious expected opportunity and causes you real, tangible loss. Law looks at basic pieces. You had something real on the table. They knew about it. They intentionally and unjustifiably interfered. Their actions caused the deal or expectancy to collapse, and you took damages. You can have an actual contract. Someone else may know and deliberately push the other side to breach or walk away without justification. Or there may be interference with expectancy or prospective advantage. You have a reasonable expectation of a deal, relationship, or benefit. Someone who knows about it steps in to block it using wrongful means. If this was just a matter of a promoter dirty macking on my personal life, you would have never heard a word from me. Even if it was about losing a personal training client here or there. Not a big deal at all. But I have now documented a pattern of interference against Texas Movement International. And I'm 37 years old. Both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were taken at the age of 39. It was not from African American actors. May have been, but it was CIA. Tucker Carlson, CIA. Contracts, inheritances, business expectancies, and employment relationships are the pipes that carry money and stability into a community. Interference cuts those pipes off. Jews, Ashkenazi Jews in particular, white, European, Polish, Ashkenazi Jews in particular, whether they be DJ Vlad or Benjamin Netanyahu. Your inability to sexually satisfy a woman via penetration is not my problem. The Lord gave plenty of women who you could have been faithful to at a young age, and she wouldn't have known the difference. You were the one who bred slaves. Sarah Bartman exhibits. I am not lording any righteousness over anybody. As a matter of fact, I'm closer to the black gay community than many people. The only thing I haven't done is willing physical encounters with a man. The Lord asked the prophet Hosea to marry a prostitute to illustrate Israel's disloyalty to the Lord. If the Lord asked me to be with a man in order to illustrate that, I don't know if I would have the strength to do that. And I am not calling upon the Lord because I'm afraid of confrontation. I'm calling upon the Lord because I'm afraid of mismanaging this position of leadership. I'm afraid of myself, not you. That's why I needed football. I needed track and field. My father knew I needed these things. In our community, sexual misconduct of any kind means immediate exile. When we are educated by our enemies who only preach abominable things, and we're forced to live in these liberal hellholes that make it more and more difficult to raise children in a dignified way. And they take advantage of the fact that our parents don't understand that context. I do not want to open the door of my mind that takes it to the next level. I'm going to stop now. Children, please pray for me.